It's just that, like, Elden Ring essentially has the same fan base like Skyrim. Yeah, those are like games that are not like marketed towards the MMORPG audiences. It is not marketed towards the hardcore shooter FPS audiences. It is not marketed towards like a sort of the new audience. It's marketed towards the Dark Souls audience, which in vast majority of the cases equals, oh, hard RPG, hard game, and also like just regular action RPG fans. Especially like with Elden Ring, it is like, all about the huge epic world, but at the same time very deadly and so on. And it just sounds fucking great to the ear of someone that is, for example, long year fan of games like Skyrim. I am fan of open world RPG games, and when Elden Ring was firstly marketed to me, my thought was, oh man, it might be finally the first Souls game that I'm going to enjoy on the PvE level. By the way, the game crashed. Thank you, Elden Ring. I thought, like, man, it's gonna be the first, perhaps it's gonna be the first Souls game that I'm just gonna play PvE on and I'm going to enjoy it. That was my thought. And sadly, it turned out that Elden Ring in reality is not even close to the level of interesting open world games even from 20 years ago, like, for example, Gothic. It lacks essentially the fundamental parts of the open world games, which is lack of the predictability, which is like that moment of surprise, the differences between the playthroughs, that you have like replayability. Elden Ring doesn't really have like a possibility to go through the game like it would be Witcher 3 and choose billions different dialogue options. It is not this type of game. Elden Ring is not Skyrim, when from the very beginning you can craft very, very, very different like builds that have like billions of different like ways to approach particular issues, because this game is mostly about just iframing anyway. So, like, no matter if you are playing like a caster, no matter if you are playing the melee build and so on, the fundamental gameplay just feels somewhat similar, even though technically you're supposed to have like shit tons of the build varieties and so on. Like, it's just that these builds feel very alike. You cannot, for example, similarly to Skyrim, have completely different gameplay experience by running the stealth build. You got the point, yeah? I hope like it makes things clear, yeah? What I'm talking about. It's just, I'm not saying that the game doesn't have replayability, just different type of the replayability to the other open world RPG games. Like, for example, when you are playing like a 20 years old classics, like Gothic, yeah? Like, I play Gothic 1 and Gothic 2 every single year for the last 20 years. And these games, even on the very fundamental level, like the dialogues, every time I have a new playthrough, I hear like a new dialogues, like I realize there's like a new way to solve the particular quests. I can like speak out most of the Gothic 2 dialogues out of my memory, and yet this game actually surprised me somehow. I do not have that feeling when playing Elden Ring on any other Souls games for that matter. It is it's kind of like, it's just it feels different. It doesn't speak volumes to me as actual action RPG. And that's why I personally do not really appreciate that much of the PvE aspect of the game as PvP. PvP in this game is amazing to me because it is something completely fresh, something that no other games have. Something that, yeah, it's just, like, if I would have to choose to play PvE of, for example, Elden Ring for 1000 hours and Skyrim, then I would probably choose Skyrim because of the fact, like, it just feels like kind of more replayable experience, especially with the support of the mods and so on and so forth, yeah? Overall, like because of the existence of the PvP, of the multiplayer, of the lack of the predictability because of that and so on, because of the unique experience that no other game have, then I absolutely would choose Elden Ring. If you would, you know, look at the overall all the aspects of the game.